Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at spiritual blocks and shadows to see how they played as karmic themes, help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Because a lot of times, we already know that we're connected to someone that has feelings for us. We want to know why things don't work out. We want to know why the person does what they do. Otherwise, we get stuck ruminating, and then that takes us out of our body. We are no longer present, and that's just never a good thing, right? Because a lot of times we find that we're reliving very similar karmic themes. And that karmic theme could be just being with a person that makes you feel unworthy, not good enough, whatever it is. So, understanding why a person does what they do and understanding the spiritual significance allows you to really shape shift the energy. That means completely avoid negative karmic consequences, but also heal yourself, which is really the most important thing, so that you can live more in alignment with who you are today, not the wounds of the past, right? All right. Now, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you know where to find it. It's in the description box. Okay, let's start off by just looking at your energy. I've been liking to do that lately. I said that I think that I'm always going to start doing that because a lot of times what you'll see is the underlying energy might influence what's going on in the connection, or it may be your karmic theme. And sometimes it's just only about you. So we like to look and see what should you look at. Well, those kind of just flew out, so we have to take them. All right. So Spirit's saying, don't underestimate your ability to solve this problem. It's okay to say no. Don't worry, we'll read it all at once at the end. Don't deprive yourself of simple pleasures in life to pursue your goals. What is truly best for you is what's best for everyone involved. Be willing to stand alone. Those who are meant to stand with you will remain, and remaining lighthearted during stressful times will help keep you in the flow. So what Spirit is saying is that people, obviously there are people that are going to come back into your life. Some people you don't really know whether or not you really want them to come back into your life. Um, I feel like there's a part of you that's conflicted because you have feelings, but then there's also a sense of the person doesn't like listen to boundaries, or I don't even feel like it's one person. I feel like it's a few people. And that's why Spirit's saying it's okay to say no. Like you already know the answer. You may not like the answer because emotionally it makes you feel uncomfortable. But the truth of the matter is, Spirit's saying is like, be willing to stand by yourself, because by doing what's best for you, eventually is what's going to be best for everyone involved. And the reason why is because when you're dealing with people that are selfish or people that are only looking at things from their point of view, then you're gonna eat some sort of karma. However, if you do things your way, no one eats karma, is what I'm feeling. And that's why Spirit's saying it's like you actually know what's right. You may not like what you have to do, which is set boundaries. That's why Spirit says remaining lighthearted during stressful times. So, how do you do that? Well, by listening to this, Spirit says, well, understand that you may be really working hard, trying to achieve something within your life. And the last thing that you really want to do is take time out to hang out with friends or take a trip or take where Spirit's saying that sometimes that's what it calls for. It's because it's not about that you can't manifest. But a lot of people, when I need it, I want it, and they're so like it's all the time, it becomes more in alignment with attachment. It comes more in alignment with that energy of fear. Like, I have to have it. Like, it's, do you notice that you always manifest things that you no longer really wanted? Like, you might have wanted something years ago, and then that now all of a sudden you have, it comes to you really easily. I know for me, I always wanted really nice jewelry, and I didn't care whether it was costume, whether it was real. I didn't care. As a kid, I'm talking about. Now I like turn around, I'm like, I have such an abundance worth of costume and regular it just comes to me. I don't want it. At one time I wanted it. So a lot of times what you'll notice is you really, really want something, and like you don't get it in the moment that you again just kind of give up on it. It comes to you. It's kind of like a person that's trying to get pregnant and then they can't get pregnant, and then they finally give up and then they get pregnant. It's like that. Relax. You become least resistant. And so, Spirit saying, like, it helps you when you don't deprive yourself of the simple pleasures of life, not just because it's going to help you get a different perception of work, but you get a different perception of how to look at things sometimes. Sometimes we're too close up to the picture, is what Spirit's saying. So this is what you have to look out for. So someone coming back into your life, not just one person, but a few people. We can see, ask why people are all of a sudden coming back into your life. But first, let's look and see just with the person that you're connected to, what are they thinking about? Like when it comes to you, what are the hidden truths? You were the best thing in my life. Okay. I left you before you could leave me. So, like, this person doesn't sound like they wanted to leave you, but they sounded like they had to leave you. I say that it's like, it was my fault, but I blamed you. And so sometimes I stay awake thinking about you. So I didn't really want to ask this so fast, but I have to. Like, I want to be more than friends. Like I didn't want to have to go and see like what did this person do, but I feel like I have to because of the way that because this person wishes things that could be different. You're the first person that makes me feel this way. You inspire me in so many ways. But it's like I need to, like I didn't want to look so fast into looking at the spiritual blockages. And I feel like I said, I have to. Betrayal. It keeps coming up. And this person, they run away from facing their problems. I feel like that there was probably somebody else in the picture, or that there was something, because it's like said the betrayal is a bad, isn't a little thing. Let's see. What did this person do? Well, first of all, it's like this person really didn't give that much to the relationship. The truth is that that this person couldn't give you anything, because I feel like they were with somebody else, or on an emotional level they just couldn't. Then they've been burned before, so it's hard for them to. They were not. I feel like if they were not still in a relationship, they just got out of a relationship, and that relationship like took them to the cleaners, like ruined them somehow, made like it was a really bad relationship. So because this person didn't have time in between to really heal, is what it looks like. So it's like, I'm not going to let you in because the fact that, hey, they didn't want the same thing to happen to them, for them to get lost in a connection, have had someone have too much power And that's what happens when you let a person in. The power is the intimacy. So I feel like this person kind of neglected the relationship when it came to that. Maybe not paying, not treating the connection like they should. If it's a divine connection, they should have treated it as such. This person didn't do that. It was like they acted like they had other things to spend their time on, and they made the relationship extremely rocky and difficult, where you're like, the road didn't need to be that rough, but they wanted you. They just didn't want, I don't want to say they didn't want the relationship. They wanted you to give them the relationship. They wanted that level of relationship without putting the effort in. They wanted all the perks of that relationship without putting without putting the effort in, is what it looks like. And without treating the relationship as such, like, again, making it too difficult. Like, it didn't need to be that hard. It's like, so there's a whole time that they had the opportunity to be in a relationship with you, they made it really difficult. It was like, I want to be with you, I want to hold on to you, but I don't want to give you what you're deserving of. So I feel like a lot of mixed messages, a lot of, a lot of gaslighting, perhaps, but just a lot of mixed messages to keep you insecure, really, about yourself. I don't think it worked, but that was the whole thing. And you just felt like powerless, like in the relationship, but this person was trying to keep you small. Like I said, they're trying to keep you small. And really, I feel like you're not really giving me anything. And this relationship, yeah, we have this connection, but unless you treat it as such, it is what it is. So you did like a head over heart decision, because of, again, the person didn't want to really give any instability. I mean, you knew that they had feelings for you, but it's like they wouldn't create the strong foundation. They wouldn't give you the security within the relationship. So that's why it's like you took your power away. And it wasn't even because they were with somebody else. It looks like they were like just got out of a situation. Now, that doesn't mean they weren't still dealing with that person, and which is possibly why the spirit's saying, they're coming back. But it's okay to say no and create boundaries with yourself. Yeah, you just felt like when the relationship keeps doing the same thing, like the person would, you'd talk to this person about your feelings and what you wanted them to do, and they would agree. But the thing is, it just, again, it just kept happening over and over and over again. So, like a kid that tells you, yeah, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, and then they don't do it. So what happens is it creates a lot of trust issues. And trust issues create intimacy issues, which then you're like, why am I even going to bother staying in the relationship? Because this person doesn't want to be accountable. It's not like you didn't tell them. I feel like you told them, and then you told them again, and then you told them again, and you're like, we've gone through this before. This is the same thing, which is, again, this person wanted to hold on to you. They just didn't want to give you the level of commitment and respect that you deserve. They wanted you to give that to them, again, and treat them like they were that status. They just didn't want to do that for you, which is really messed up. It's abuse. And that's what you felt like. You're like, I had enough of it. Like trying to make me feel small, trying to make me feel like I'm not worthy, trying to make it like I'm difficult to love. I'm like in a one-sided relationship. What for? Because you don't want to create like any stability. We talk about it. You don't want to be accountable. You want to act like a baby and run away. It's like, yeah, of course, they wanted you to get mad. And you just felt like they had time for everything else. Well, again, they tried to make themselves, I feel like, feel more important. You know, I'm very busy, but I don't think that it was that they were that busy. They just didn't want to create the emotional connection because, with you, there's a real emotional connection. So if they feed that, they're gonna be there. It would have automatically fallen into that. But they did a head over heart decision too, where they were like, no, I want to stay in like this player energy. I want to stay in this, like, I don't really know what type of energy. And that it doesn't mean that they were running around either at being a player, but just kind of acting like we're not an item. I don't want to make you feel secure. But what for? Because you want to appear as if you're single? Because why? Are you talking to other people? Like that insecurity, making it like I'm crazy, like I'm hard to love, twisting it around where you're like, you want a one sided relationship. And if you felt that you were unworthy, you would have went along with that. And what happened is inside this person found out that you know your worth. That's why I believe that they're coming back. But they know that they feel stupid. They know that they feel like they ruined the connection. It's not like they don't, but emotionally unavailable. There's a part of this person that they want also what they want. Like there's this connection, but you're the one that walked away from them. So, I only say that because tend to be emotionally unavailable. So their ego is hit. Also, that you walked away from them, and but I do feel like they have feelings for you, but someone that's emotionally unavailable, they're never gonna really be able to show up for you, which I believe is part of the issue. It's like, hey, they have this strong connection to you, but instead of them wanting to embrace it and feed it and let that relationship grow by creating a strong foundation, they never create a strong foundation. So it'll never grow. And it's because they can't do the depth of this connection. So when you say, well, why can they talk to other people? Because it's a fling, it's not real. Everybody lies to each other. Here for a good time, not a long time. With you, you want a real relationship. You want a foundation. You want a real relationship. The relationship deserves that level. They know it. They can't deal with the emotion, the depth of the connection. Which means you're always going to deal with a person that runs from their problems. You are the first thing on my mind when I wake up in the morning. So there is an emotional connection. It's not like there isn't. I just feel like this person they suppress it a lot. Um, they suppress it. I feel like there's a part of this person that is afraid of losing you because they do feel like they can be themselves around you. But I don't feel like this person's comfortable with themselves. That's the energy. So even though they have this strong connection to you, they're emotionally not they're not capable of even looking at things that they need to do to heal themselves just to have a balanced life. It's not normal to live emotionally cut off. you know I feel like this person, like a lot of the reason why they're also coming back is because you triggered their sense of abandonment. I get emotional when I think of you because there's a telepathic bond. I'm faced with constant reminders of you. So, like I said, I feel like it's a very spiritual connection. It doesn't logically make sense. I feel lost without you. And understand if you've detached your energy from this person, This is why they feel like, again, they don't feel like you're moving on. So they're like, please don't move on. But are they putting any effort in? It's, again, no. What they did is they give you the silent treatment, and now you're not talking to this person. They didn't mean what they said. This person battles inner demons, and um again, please don't give up on me. So this person down deep inside doesn't want you to give up on them, but what prevents them from moving forward then? And sometimes it's nothing but except for their ego. Well, they're actually just were living so detached for a really long time. I feel like they've been living like separated from whatever that relationship was, and there are someone that's very lonely. There's someone that is really like did a lot of healing. They were very closed off for a long time, like on an emotional level. So it's not like, I feel like this person went through a really bad relationship and they just decided to kind of go off by themselves, live mainly secluded. Didn't mean that they didn't have a job, didn't mean, but kind of lived quiet life, went to work, did whatever they did, could be the life of the party at work, but went home to a very quiet life and did the same thing every day and was fine like that. People tend to live safe when they've gotten hurt before, where that's kind of like this person's energy. And when they met you, the relationship that relationship is would have required this person to like show up. They couldn't just give you surface. So it's easy to take your clothes off and to talk a bunch of bullshit for this person than it actually was to like form a relationship, a friendship, because emotionally they were emotionally not available because of their previous relationship. And so they were just uncertain for a long time, uncertain of what they wanted, which will happen again if you go through like a bad enough relationship. There's a sense of the person feels numb. They don't know what they feel and they have to find it. And so, like, that's why this person like sat for a long time and didn't really know and didn't seem to be talking to anybody about it, lived mainly secluded and cut off and just whatever. And so now it's like when we say, well, what is the whole point of why this person and the reason why is because there is a sense of fulfillment. There's a sense of feeling like that deja vu with you, like that you feel like home, like you feel like they knew you from a past life, like it's a spiritual connection. This person's not a spiritual person, so to have a connection like this when you feel dead inside, because this person was living dead inside, because emotionally that's what happens. That's what depression feels like, right? When you're depressed, have you ever gotten really depressed where you like just want to like roll up in a ball and live like a hermit, secluded away from everyone? It's heavy energy. So to feel somebody that feels like home, to that connection, it gives life, it gives prana, right? Chi, which is the energy of God, which is the energy of unconditional love, which is again life. So again, family, like comfort, even if it doesn't logically make sense. Again, and it's just because there's love there and it elevates the mood. So again, which is what happens when you have feelings for someone. You get the butterflies in the stomach and it lifts this person's mood, which again, he or she was dead inside for a long time. And so when we are depressed for so long and then we meet somebody that changes us, it doesn't mean that we change like automatically it's not easy to open up. But over time, you know, we get tired of living in the same energy, you know, that depression, that heaviness, which the whole thing is that the universe brings us people that help us heal. This person was a loner. They didn't go out. They didn't feel comfortable. So, like you said, Spirit's saying, within a few days, you can expect to hear from this person. And it's because they have feelings. That's the only reason. Understand, it's not like they're all of a sudden emotional. They're still not very emotional. They're a very logical person. So this person this is a big deal for this person to, by the way, to actually have to come back. It's against their comfort level, but it's again, their energy is more comfortable, like where they're self-indulgent and they make a lot of money and they like to like have a very like extravagant life for themselves. They tend to be very indulgent, but so understand that. But this person is gonna come and make the journey towards you, and because like what's happening now is that you're in separation. They have feelings, and they're like, well, now I'm like uncomfortable. Pretty much, you've made this person uncomfortable. And so, and that's because they still have feelings. So if you're not going to participate, in it, so they just want to, like I said, they want to come back and they want to fix it, because I feel like they've been under a situation for a really long time where, their life just isn't good. I mean, they went through a divorce or they lost certain things. And I feel like living by themselves did a certain thing for a long time. You know, but now it's like they have one thing, they can actually fix it. They want to fix it. And I think it's because there's nothing, I don't want to say that there's nothing else, but understand this person did not want to be in another relationship. They live secluded. They made up their mind, like, I'm never going to be in a relationship again, is what it kind of looks like. So they talk themselves out of this connection a lot. So if they're coming back, you better believe that they thought about it. You better believe that that it's something that they really want, because like I said, this person's emotionally cut off. They normally don't care. They don't care. Normally it's like they've lived this way. It's comfortable for them to live this way. We have to ask, why is it comfortable? Like, what is, like, again, we won't look at spiritual blockages, but we'll look at the wounds, because whatever their spiritual blockages are, you can see that would be something that you need to see what they are, because they're going to definitely trigger you. Well, that just came flying out. So we look and we see external validation, sacral chakra imbalance, and not being able to be vulnerable. So it's almost like I feel like this person was brought up in an environment that was like that, made this person like they had to get approval. They had to get, it's again, constantly seeking approval or recognition from outside people, from getting the attention. So one person would not be enough at one time, because this person wanted you to chase. They wanted you to, again, make them feel secure. And I don't feel like you made them feel secure. And not because you were like, I'm not going to make you feel insecure. But again, if it's a real soul relationship, it's a sense, shouldn't you know how to fucking do that yourself? It's like that, where No, this person doesn't know how to do that for themselves, where you're like, of course you would not give them because you're like, you need to show me something. This person didn't show you anything, but they like to get the attention from outside people. So I feel like they kind of put you in a situation that they wanted you to like do that. Um, and it has to do with this person's self-worth. Like they don't feel like important enough, they're insecure, and so they have anxiety and emptiness when external praise or acceptance is lacking. And so understand we should always again be able to fill up our own glass, because that'll be a problem if they always need to get, if their happiness is relying on you. Understand you're not there to make that person happy or to fix them or anything. If a person can enhance a person's life, otherwise, then it's just codependency. So understand, like this person kind of did what they did because they don't feel comfortable actually communicating. They can't say, hey, I really have feelings for you. I'd really like to go out and get to know you more. No, they don't know. They're not going to do that because I can't say anything. So shows up as difficulty opening up, fear of being judged or being rejected, inability to express their feelings. It just stems from past hurts, uh, you know. So it just prevents like authentic like connections, which this was an authentic connection. And then this person was confronted in this with this, and they're not emotionally not intelligent. They can't deal with it, and that's what you were dealing with. And it's a second chakra in balance, because the second chakra is all about who we perceive we are when we look in the mirror. It's our balance, it's our passion for life, it's our birthing center. So this person, shallow relationships, needs attention from outside resources. That's the second chakra is all about your identity. We create our identity by where we're putting our time, our energy, our focus, and our money. What's this person doing? Running around talking to people and not really making good connections? No, it's all ego. It's all ego. So it's nothing. So it keeps this person in a place of nothing. So here it is. If you're comfortable with yourself and you're not going to chase this person and give this person validation, well, then they're going to talk to other people. They're going to punish you and not give you that much. And that's what happened here. It's like this person wanted you to give them that attention, that love, but they couldn't give it in return. So they were going to emotionally manipulate you into like giving them without them having to really show up in the relationship, because who are they? Nobody. Yeah, I mean, really, we go with the flow of life because we're in the passion for life. That's what the poem Footprints is, because our focus is on, what we love, where we're going, what we're doing, what we're passionate about, what stirs up our soul, not on controlling the narrative. This person tried to control the narrative. And really, it backfired on them because you're like, I'm not playing that game. Whatever that game is that you're playing, I'm not. And so, again, that's the second chakra. That's an imbalance. So, nothing gets birthed, right? No love, no intimacy, major intimacy issues, which is trust issues, by the way. And then, usually addictions come there because the person's got to get their emotional happiness from somewhere. So their balance. So it shows up as difficulty expressing emotions, creativity, which again, that person's identity, and just connecting with other people. So leaving a feeling of disconnected from your passions and desires. It manifests as emotional numbness, guilt, or struggles with intimacy and relationships. And that's really what you see there. And that's because the person doesn't really, they're not safe within themselves. They know that their relationships don't work out. Their relationships don't work out because hey, if you are going to talk to other people to get attention, well, you're creating intimacy issues right across the board, because no one's going to want to sleep with you if they don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? It's like intimacy gets ruined, and there's a fine line between love and hate. So this person's got hurt because of whatever their issue is, which again, they never tell you. They'll never tell you. But this emotional repression is sabotaging behavior. You know, where the person gets in their own way. Hey, Champel and Joelle. I mean, that's what you got here. So sabotaging behaviorisms. Does that person want that? No. Understand self-sabotage is like the person gets in their own way. And that's because, hey, if you're navigating your life like from a logical perspective in a relationship, it's not going to go well. It's going to be really cold. It's going to be really like not good. So this shows up as actions and thoughts that unconsciously undermine success, like procrastination, perfectionism, self doubt. And so here it's self doubt, and manifests as repeating patterns, avoiding opportunities, disconnection, holding back, so feeling of unworthy due to past trauma. So it's unconscious. But as long as this person doesn't communicate and they play games, it's going to be the same thing. Like person's empty inside. Your identity shouldn't be, you know, you shouldn't be spending your time running around trying to get attention from other people to make yourself feel good. You know, like that's it. Like I said, it's not going to lead to anything. It's going to make you feel bad because down deep inside, the person does that because they feel inadequate. So any little thing that you do, this person is like their main fear is that you are not going to stay with them, and so that they have a second chakra imbalance, which we know. But that's all when the person has that. It's all about control, and that's what the problem is. So it's not like they don't have feelings, but it's the person that's traumatized. So we can say, are they going to do anything like about it? Are they going to fix it? They're going to fix. I wish we could go back to starting over. We have past life issues and we're working on them. So I just feel like this person, like, it's just a very spiritual connection and it's bringing up a lot for this person. And that's why during separation, it's like this person has to look and see like why they sabotage this connection, because they're like, I have feelings, but the irony is, if they want you back, they have to do what they weren't willing to do. Why they sabotage this connection? They sabotaged it because they didn't show anything, right? So now, if they want to come back, they're gonna have to really show you. That's the irony of it, and that's the issue. This person like has a second chakra imbalance. It's like I'm like it would be so easy if you just made it easy for them, but you can't do that because you'll never get what you want with a person like this. It's like you have to make them do it. It's like, because like I said, they just were conditioned in an environment where they were taught it wasn't safe to be emotional, to be vulnerable, so they learned to navigate their life without it. It's easier to take your clothes off than it actually is to have a deep conversation, because you can hurt this person with the information that they give you, which is what has happened in the past. So this person just doesn't trust. Not saying that it's your issue, but we already know that what they have planned on doing and that they want to come back and why they want to come back. But we have to say, okay, why did you attract this person into your life? And you have free will to choose whether or not you want to deal with this person. Spirit doesn't care whether you are or not, because it's all about learning the lesson. And by the time this person actually comes back and you get to make a decision, Well, you've already learned the lesson. And this person definitely learned the lesson if they've coming back. The spirit says, if you say no, that's their karma. But they're gonna learn. They learned either way. And that's the universe says, that's all that I care, that you can revert back to the energy of unconditional love. But you always have free will to choose. But as long as this person's like in that energy, you'd have to hold them to a certain level. Now, when we look and say, well, why would you attract a person that was emotionally cut off? And Spirit says, well, because on an emotional level, you didn't get, like, you were neglected in that area. And I feel like because you just grew up in an environment that the parent, like, was just like more angry, more stressed out. And so they weren't that affectionate type. They had a lot to do. They were like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You know, maybe they worked full time and they had, just other stresses. So Spirit's saying there was a lack of support where you felt abandoned on that level, and that's why. And so when that happens, there's a lack of groundedness, there's a lack of connection to other people. So understand there's like you might even empathize with this person a little bit, like, because hey, I grew up in the same environment and it's not easy to open up and to be vulnerable, especially if you grow up in that type of environment with an angry parent that's, you know, not going to really let you have your process. But Spirit says that there's still a sense of not feeling comfortable, feeling like love is not, it's not unconditional, like it's conditional a lot of times. And so, when we look and see what your wounds are, we understand what your inner child wounds are. But how did that play out within your wounds? And really, Spirit saying inner peace, like never feeling at peace. Like, because if you're around like a parent that's angry all the time, then you're like tapped into like other people's moods, and over time, like you condition yourself that unless the environment is going to be peaceful, then you're not going to be peaceful. You know what I mean? It would be like you're letting like outside things affect you too much. Where a lot of times that's what happens if you grow up in an environment that's chaotic, it shows up as constant sense of unrest, anxiety, and inner turmoil. But that's created due to like not trusting yourself. Know that, and a lack of connection to spirit, which that's how we learn how to trust ourselves, right? Only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing, while inner peace comes from that connection that we have with God, has with the higher self. That's what keeps us safe. But if we're like, again, always worried and shows up as constant sense of unrest, anxiety, and inner turmoil, that'll happen if you grew up again with an angry parent. Like, you never know what you're going to get. It's like that type of energy. And so you, again, are condition yourself based on the environment. It's a survival mechanism. So emotional reactivity becomes an issue. So a strong need to control external circumstances because you don't feel at peace, you don't feel safe. So you see, you have a second chakra imbalance, that person has a second chakra imbalance. It's like, and that was just based on, again, the environment that you grew up with. Ken, we already said that about the unconditional love, that love is not unconditional, it's conditional. And so, and because again, that parent is angry or that parent is moody. So again, you're wired to please that person because by being good, you're then again seen as like being good for the family, whatever it is. It's like whatever you're doing. Some people grow up with a parent angry all the time because they work and they hate their job. So that child cleans and they cook and they do things to help that parent out to make it easier. It's like it's a need, it's a want, it becomes a condition, not because the parent wanted it that way. It's that the child loves the parent and says, I want to help. I want it to be easier because maybe mommy will be nicer. Maybe mommy will be in a good mood. It's again that the what that becomes the priority is the mood of the parent, not the child's unfoldment process, which is what's most important because children are basing who they are and how safe they feel in the world in childhood, by again their environment. So the child is wired to say, well, I don't feel safe. Let me do what I can do to feel safe because the mind doesn't know the difference between psychological, emotional. It just knows I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable in myself. Again, inner te- inner teenager shows up as lingering rebellion, defiance, frustration from unresolved teenager wounds. So having a parent that was really controlling. Um, you know, so it could be like just not wanting to like it feel limited, not wanting to feel suppressed, not wanting to be pushed down. So it's not really that that's a bad thing, but if you grew up with a parent that was so overbearing, that's a second chakra imbalance, by the way. That's what creates a second chakra imbalance, because your second chakra is your unique individuality, which is an unfoldment process. You don't know what that looks like because it's an unfoldment process. It happens with you and the universe. You go out into the world and you find, and your intuition leads you to again what you are called to passionately, what you feel in your heart and in your gut. It's again, it's an intuitive thing between you and God, really, that higher self, because your intuition is connected to that higher self. So when you are having that unfoldment process and a parent is saying, no, you're not allowed to do that. No, you're going to do this instead. And then you're trying to fit into that mold. It doesn't feel right. So it's the feeling that people tend to remember. And when you're trying to like live someone else's life and not your own life, well, it doesn't feel right. It's like you're emulating. And so, and you don't usually get good results either. So it kind of makes you feel like, again, uncomfortable. So if you, here it is, you're taught to like, mold to the environment, but you don't really want to do that. And then here's this relationship where this person is also like cares too much about what other people perceive on the outside. So again, it's the second chakra imbalance of what both parties were taught. So which then becomes like a thing of where you feel inadequate. The person feels inadequate. And but then it's not that there's not love there. There's a lot of love there. There's passion, there's love. But both parties feel broken because there's a second chakra imbalance, which it's like, hey, there's part of my identity that's missing. Well, it feels missing because it wasn't created in childhood. It's like somebody else told you, what you should do. Now, everybody has that a little bit, by the way, because everybody goes to school and the modern world, teaches us through these outside structures that it's a one size fits all and nobody's a one size fits all. So, we all have to find our own way. But when we have those really overbearing parents, or when we have parents that just don't give a shit at all, that they don't show up, it's the same thing. So if you have a parent that like abandons you, and you have an overbearing parent, it's still considered second chakra imbalance. Too much, too little creates the same thing. So Spirit says, and that creates codependency. And that is what I did not like when I felt with this person. I said, this person's ego a little bit. But it's not like they don't have passion. It's not like they don't have feelings. They do, but they can't express them. So we all know codependency is usually one person is the person that emotionally grounds the relationship, where the other person does not ground the relationship. They might financially bring to the relationship, they bring something to the relationship, but there's codependency issues. So, shows up as relying too much on others for validation and support. Second chakra imbalance, this person already does that. But you see how they talk to other people, and they that usually triggers, whoever they're with, to obviously give them more effort, more energy. So that's how it all starts to be codependent. I just want you to know. It starts right from the beginning. And it's where you wind up neglecting your needs, your wants for this person, which is what they were trying to set up to begin with. Because, hey, they don't really like to do it, emotion. But then what winds up happening is that you wind up feeling unworthy. You wind up feeling like, that love is conditional unless constantly giving, which is what you grew up with, which is like love is conditional, where that says love is not conditional. This was an unconditional love relationship that this person automatically makes into because they keep doing karmic loop. And the karmic loop is this is the same shit. It's just different person. And because they're so needy, they make the whoever they're with insecure to the point that the person abandons themselves and gives them everything that they want. Then they get bored with the person. They don't have an emotional connection with the person over time. They're seen as someone that's smothering them. And then they don't want the relationship. They create problems. And so the last person fucked them up. And so it's woe is me because of that. And so they play this little game, but here they have a connection to you. They don't know what to do with this connection. It's like, because it's real, you got to show up. You have to be real. And we ain't playing this codependent nonsense. That's what you showed this person. Man, I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to be in a one-sided relationship. Thank you. It's like, but understand this person still, like, they're going to come back, but that doesn't mean that they know how to do what it is. You'd have to teach them. You'd have to set boundaries, and that means no more people pleasing. Spirit's saying it means that, that otherwise it's all about you again feeling devalued, like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. I don't like again a relationship where you're giving all the time, you're not getting anything back, and it's just that energy of, love is conditional, and if I'm not giving, I don't mean anything. And Spirit says that's what it would make you feel like. So it's not like this person isn't going to come back, and it's not like if they don't have feelings for you. But understand you're the one that's got to like hold to a certain level, and that's the thing. They already see that you know how to do that. Will they continue to try? Usually if a person's coming back, then they know that they have to be different. I'm triggered and old patterns have surfaced and it hurts. So it doesn't mean that this person's not like working through things. It's, again, you're making this person come back to you. And they have to do everything that they weren't willing to do before they left. Stupid. You know what I mean? They wasted a lot of time. On top of it, they feel foolish. They feel stupid actually showing the emotion, but then actually having to come back and to say, "Oh, this is like their nightmare." And that's the issue. Past lives are influencing our connection. I've lost you in other lifetimes, and that makes me afraid. I need to heal the grief. So it's again, this person, like, again, has this strong spiritual connection. They don't understand it, you know. This person probably doesn't have these emotional connection. They just know that they have this, deep connection to you, and you're not budging, and that's really what it is. We need to remember, um, we're both incarnated to be gods and goddesses. It's time. Time is healing our wounds and creating the perfect condition for our reunion. So again, I feel like it's very twin flamey energy here. It's like divine timing, this person feels like, but in between, it's not like this person has inner demons, because here we have that they project their fears and their limitations onto you. So this relationship is stirring up a lot of different emotions for this person. It's not like they don't have deep love, but they also have a tremendous amount of fear, a tremendous amount of, like, doubts, and that is what limits the connection. So they're working through that. So, like I said, this is their biggest nightmare, to have to actually come back and, first of all, and apologize for how they acted, and understand they made matters worse by just taking their sweet ass time about doing it, and then and then having to actually, be open. They have a lot of anxiety about it, because it doesn't really have anything to do with you. It has to do with this person. They don't feel deserving. They just don't feel deserving of it. So it's like, if you keep getting in your own way, what's going to happen. So what's happened is, this person that always has these surface relationships. They got to go out, they got to get the attention from everyone, because they don't feel deserving of it. And so it winds up just creating the bad relationship over and over. Like I said, a karmic loop. It's just different person, same story, different person. So here it is. They have this connection to you, and it's like, you're different the way that you're dealing with things. You're not easily manipulated, where I feel like this person usually can easily manipulate, because they emotionally don't get connected. They get other people to connect to them. So, you're playing it differently. And what it's doing is digging up all this person's insecurities. And so, of course, like, you would see a bunch of different emotions here. It wouldn't be normal for them to be like, oh, yeah, I'm really happy about it. No, they're not. It's triggering them. They're to say that they're not going to give into fear. They know that fear is an illusion, that is not really real. But this person is projecting a lot, like, and they're facing their inner demons. There's a part of this person that wants you to reach out to them, because they're insecure. Don't do it. And the reason is because that they hurt you, and they're sorry, and they really hope that you can forgive them, and understand that they were acting from fear. But the whole "I'm sorry" thing, that they, in fact, that they even have to come back and say "I'm sorry." I know that this person wants to, like, you know they'd rather drop dead right there on the floor, instead of have to come back and apologize, and then show my feelings, and then really be transparent. Like, this is this person's worst nightmare, but they have feelings, you know. I'm realizing this connection is something special. It's like, and worth treasuring. Um, I don't know if they say, oh, it's worth that, but it's like, they know that it's something that is, and it's something very spiritual, because on a spiritual level, you both are meant to be together to clear specific patterns from your ancestral bloodline. Clearly, because this person is mirroring a lot of things. Like you grew up the same way. It doesn't mean that you didn't work through them or aren't in the process of working through them. But this person is, like I said, like you guys grew up similar. And in that, it's like there's just certain blocks that don't get transmuted unless there's passion there, not just it's in the second chakra. You know, second chakra is our individuality center. This person has missing their identity, piece of their identity. So again, that's why they need the attention from outside people. So again, it's this is why they're constantly conflicted about the relationship, because they're constantly conflicted about whether they have what it takes, you know that they don't know think that they're worthy, that they don't think that they're good enough. And that's because you get into a relationship with a person that is emotionally not available. You don't think that every single relationship that this person got into, that they were not told by the person that they're with that they're a piece of shit for not showing up for half the things, because emotionally they act like they don't care, because they have to get attention from other people, that one person's not is not enough. This is a spiritual connection, but you know this person still has their issues again. And you already have been around people that have made you feel devaluated. So spirit says, remember who you're dealing with. It doesn't mean that they're not coming back. It doesn't mean that they don't have feelings, but because understand, this person feels you leaving them behind. It's like, because eventually you're going to get tired of their bullshit, and that's really why they're like, I have to come back to you. Like I said, they're not comfortable about it. They're going to do it, but you're still getting the same person, is what I'm trying to explain. They're praying that you'll even come back after everything that's happened. They worry that you're not going to forgive them and give them another chance, because that's how bad that they know that they were. So again, and it's because they shut down themselves, the parts of themselves so long ago that wanted love, that wanted romance, intimacy. They shut it down a long time ago. You're the one that makes them want it. But they didn't want this. They were not looking for this. This was not something that they were looking for. Due to past relationship, they're like, I don't want to go back into this shit. It was like, it's easier for you to just give me your time and energy, whatever. And, but it doesn't work that way. It's like this person they have to clear certain things, and we know what they are. It's feeling unworthy. It's feeling not good enough. But that's because, again, if they're not going to be emotionally transparent and form the intimacy that relationship is worth, they're always going to create the same thing, which is that self-sabotage wound that you saw there. Like, it's like, here they go again. They get in their own way. They ruined a good thing. They cut themselves off from opportunity. They don't really believe that they're worthy. They don't believe that they're worthy. That's because, like I said, 10 bad relationships, 5 bad relationships, however many bad relationships, however toxic they were, this person, like I said, they helped create that. Remember that. It's not one person that does it in a relationship. It's 2 people. And let me tell you something, when it's toxic like that, it's you like to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't show up for you, it becomes very toxic. And a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and a lot of one up you. So that's why this person is like, I don't want to get back into a relationship, because especially be vulnerable to have someone, because they'll rip me apart. That's what this person thinks. So you have to see, they're coming back, but it's up to you. And spirit says, but you need to understand why you attract certain people into your life. And we pulled that. It was a lot the same thing, but then you have to transmute the negative energy. And we transmute the negative energy by seeing, be vulnerable. Well, that was not easy to do. And spirit says, well, when we say be vulnerable, it's about embracing your unique and um, authenticity. Because if the second chakra is all about being true to you, it's about who you are, your essence. So Spirit's saying it's like walk the walk of who you are, because you want to be strong in who you are before any person actually even is able to come into your space, because it works as a barrier. When you're strong in yourself, that means you're grounded in your hobbies, your interests, your life. And that means that you have connections also through every sphere of your life. And it's about, you know, creating the support, reparenting yourself, especially if you didn't have it. Spirit says also acknowledge what you have gone through. Like you're a strong person. People tend to go through what they went through and feel like, oh, I feel so weak. I feel so weak. Spirit says you wouldn't have been able to go through that if you weren't strong. You know, it's like you're drained, maybe spiritually, Spirit says. So you need to do things like, that inner peace. Remember, you didn't have inner peace, that showed up also. So again, that's someone that's not in a good mood all the time and creating disruption in your environment. Well, Spirit says, remember, inner peace is something that's you cultivate yourself, and that might be by doing like meditation, or like and that could be a walking meditation. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to just sit there. It needs to take on a hot bath, doing something to help you relax, something to help you clear your mind. Peace of mind is to be strong within yourself. It doesn't mean you don't have problems. Everybody has problems. Everyone has bills. Everybody has whatever. But the difference is you find that space where you just are able to connect to spirit, your higher self. And that's what gives you peace of mind, because you feel safe, because in the now you're going to get that divine guidance. It's that you don't need to figure things out. That's the whole point. Spirit says it's about loving yourself. You grew up in a way that you were taught that love was conditional. Well, guess what? You'd never achieve it. No matter how much you gave, if it was conditional, you never reached it. It didn't mean that mom wasn't happy when you did the dishes or folded the laundry or did whatever whenever you did it, or dad was happy when you mowed the lawn or did whatever you asked. They were happy, but guess what? They got pissed off about something else 5 minutes later. And so Spirit says, again, your happiness resides within you loving yourself and having peace of mind, not on what the environment tells you. So cultivating a deep self-love with acceptance and compassion, honor your true essence. Again, talking about being true to yourself, allowing yourself to have your unfoldment process. And Spirit says again, like live authentically, boldly, unafraid to be you. Unfortunately, I feel like again, you were raised in an environment where it was what was most important was the comfort of that parent, because your survival was perceived as like, well, survival could have just meant I got to go out. If my parents were in a good mood, I was allowed to go out. So I associated, you know, I have to do this in order to get that. So this where Spirit's saying, where this is just about you don't need to do anything except for to be you. Be true to you. Because when you are authentic and true to yourself, well, then guess what? You're saying, I love myself. I'm not rejecting any part of myself. And then you attract people that are going to treat you the same within alignment instead of, you know, other things like feeling like, you can't attract that when Spirit says you can, you know, but it's first about you understanding that you can connect and to other people first and emotionally get a connection, where that's what's going to also help create emotional support for you, obviously, but also teach people. When you have other people in your life, it's like you're saying without saying, like, I'm not always available for you. I have other things emotionally. I don't have to, you create space. When you create space, you can see whether or not a relationship can actually, ebb and flow, and that person doesn't need to control, it doesn't need to be codependent. Where spirit says most codependent relationships, unfortunately, the two parties lose each other in each other. When I remember the one person that is going around needing attention from other people, um, you know, you would be emotionally abandoned, but like not getting, because you're giving so much to this person. But if you have friends and a person comes across like that, well, you're going to see it and you're going to be like, I don't really want to do that because that means I always have to be there for you. Like, you can't do simple things for yourself. You see it. See, if you don't have friends and you don't have a tribe, it becomes codependent because there's no boundaries, especially if you're a people pleaser and this person is the way that they are, which is, I like to set things up so I don't have to emotionally give because I've been hurt before. So Spirit's saying that's not a problem, because remember, they're coming back. It's not like they're not coming back. It's not like they don't have feeling. But if you have feelings for them, Spirit says you better make sure that you have other people in your life. Otherwise, this person's going to take too much time. You have to have other emotional support. It's all about teaching this person, hey, I love myself too. You want to treat me, you got to treat me the way I'm treating myself. And no, I'm not going to dumb me down. This is who I am. This is my life. You don't like it, get out. Is the Spirit saying. It's like you have to hold to a standard. You're not getting a person that's automatically healed. They help you transform. It's, again, they're helping you. You're also helping them, because you're like, I'm holding to this standard. So it's either you're going to come in correct or you don't come in at all. And I'm not going to like give you attention every second. And if you're talking to other people, bye. It's like, this is my stance. And I understand if a person really loves you, they have to deal with it. Doesn't mean that they want to deal with it. And it's an illusion to think that you would get a person that wouldn't try the other today. Unfortunately, people like, I got hurt, so I'm going to make sure that I'm safe. Is, again, ego, safe, fear, not thinking about anybody except for themselves, selfish. And obviously, if you allowed a person to do that, which you didn't, but for those of you that did or thought about doing it, it's like you just wind up with abandonment, because once you abandon yourself, this person disposes people. It's the whole point that you were like, I'm not going along with this, that this person even realized like what they lost, you know? So that's the whole thing. It's like, and not because they didn't really have feelings. It's like because they're numb. They were numb. It's like, and that's why Spirit's saying this is about you becoming more of yourself. It doesn't matter if you're with this person or not. If they come back and you choose to be with them, great. If you choose not to, great. Spirit says the lesson's already learned. This person's already coming back, apologizing, having to do everything that they don't want to do. And if they lost you, well, guess what? They know why they lost you. So karmic lesson learned, And for you, it's like you avoided karma. It's not like you're going into karma. You only go into karma if you go along with what this person does and you're a people pleaser and you're not like going to hold to your level. Otherwise, this person has no power. They're going to, again, do what you want to do because, again, because there's not another choice. And you're not asking to be codependent. What you're saying is, I want to be balanced. I want a partner. You have to show up. It's not all or nothing. And that's the thing. Balance. And that's because both parties were never taught balance. So the path to light. Make the conscious choice to move towards light one step at a time. Transform your weaknesses into strength by mastering your thoughts. You overcome obstacles with positivity and acceptance, and you develop your gifts and extend your light to every being unconditionally. So, everything that's placed on your path helps bring you to light as well. So, I feel like this connection, like I said, like at this point, if either way, whether you're with this person, you're not with this person, doesn't matter. It's like the spiritual lesson is already learned. Like you would need to do this. Go out, meet your tribe, meet other people if you're going to date, because any other person, they're going to come into your life, and you would always give too much. You wouldn't know that you weren't giving too much, because you'd say, well, I just want to treat the person the way I want to be treated. But understand, not everybody needs that, and you never emotionally got what you should have gotten. So you always give too much, and you're a people pleaser. You like to do that. So Spirit says that can't be what you want to do, because then you're teaching the person before they earned it. And then, it comes across as needy, even though you're not needy, because this person has attachment style issues. So, again, the spiritual lesson is that it would wind up being extremely codependent, because this person, again, uh, would need you, but then they would also need to talk to a lot of other people in order to like feel emotionally safe, emotionally connected, when really they don't need that. It's like, because what they're seeing is, well, I really have a connection to you, but they have to do the work in order for the relationship to work out. And when they do the work, they're actually healing themselves. They're going to feel better to do the actual work. And if it doesn't work out with you, well, guess what? You left them in better standing. And that's really, Spirit says, that's what it's all about. The soul relationships. Not all the time do you wind up with the person. Sometimes just come into your life to help you awaken things that need to be healed, and you heal them. And other times you actually choose to be in a relationship with them. Is it a forever thing? It can be. But for tonight, what we just see is that they want to come back. And what I'm telling you is, you need to hold to a standard and live your life and do all that, so that when this person comes back, you're a different person. You're not just letting them in with no boundaries. That Because they want to, but that doesn't mean that they know how to do it. Especially if they've been in nothing but shit codependent relationships. People get addicted to that type of relationship. Healing doesn't feel good, because you hold to a certain standard. So there obviously would have to be unconditional love for this person to do the changes. So that's what Spirit's saying. Well, they're coming back. It's again that they'd rather die than actually do that, and they're going to do that. So understand, that's work. That's a big thing for this person. So I feel like, well, love changes people, and it does happen every once in a while. But don't think that don't have to hold to the standard and teach that person, because you do. The whole point is you have unconditional love, so you'll deal with it. All right, I'm going to leave that there. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I am going to run. Just remember, everything that's on our path helps us to restore us back to our original energy of unconditional love. Even the most difficult relationships. I want to tell you guys, I'm not going to be on tomorrow, because I am going hiking in Georgia. I said yes to a friend. I don't know why I said yes. I'm kind of like, why did I say yes? I don't really want to go hiking, and I'm really out of shape, and I'm just not wanting to do it. But you know how, a lot of time goes by and you haven't seen your friend in a while, and they ask you to hang out, and you keep saying that you will. And then, but it gets to like this uncomfortable, like, thing where like too many times you said no, too many times, like it hasn't worked out, where it's like, oh, this isn't canceled plans. Like, and so I'm like, my intuition said I have to go. but I don't really want to go. I know I'll have a good time, but I don't know how well I'm going to be able to walk, to be honest with you. 5 miles? I'm lucky I can walk down the block. I'm in like shape, but it's like I sit behind a computer. It's like 5 miles. I probably be crippled after like a mile. So wish me luck. Um, and like I said, I'm trying to do the good friend thing, you know, because you got to do that. I just want to be one of those friends that you have to invite me, but I want to say no. You know what I mean? Like you have to invite me, otherwise, like my feelings get hurt. But I don't want to really go. It's like that's that's where I'm at. Anyway, until next time, be true to you. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. All right. Bye bye.